trimmers.
Attention vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life, giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875. That's K&M Automotive, Siegen near Perkins.
If you're a small business owner, you've probably noticed how the big banks like to force you into one-size-fits-all financial service products. At Neighbors Federal Credit Union, we've created a suite of flexible commercial checking accounts designed to fit the specific needs of your local business. And with 9 full-service locations throughout Greater Baton Rouge, we're always just around the corner. We're a local small business looking out for other local small businesses. Learn more about Neighbors commercial checking accounts by visiting neighborsfcu.org. Neighbors Federal Credit Union. We're here for you. Insured by NCUA.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the inventory to get you in a new truck or SUV today. Or let us help you customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery. Visit BayouCDJR.com to shop or schedule a same-day appointment with our service department. Just off I-10 on Belterre and LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
If you were affected by the recent hailstorms in our area, Hudco Roofing would like to help. For more than 2 decades, Hudco has been a Louisiana company run by Louisiana people using Louisiana products. Do business with someone you know. HudcoRoofing.com.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Lundi Gras. Got the day off. Appreciate you hanging out with us. If you're grinding away like us, we'll get you through the work day. A little foggy. Long Mardi Gras weekend. Super Bowl last night, but we're in the saddle, ready to roll, and appreciate you hanging out with us. Got Jacob Beck and Casey Gaines here on the ones and twos. Have Matthew Brune in an hour talking all things men's and women's basketball with LSU Tigers. On the men's side, got beat by Alabama on Sunday morning in the PMAC. We'll talk a little bit about that. I got a couple of baseball segments planned for you, talking about LSU's freshmen, as well as some sound from Jay Johnson. We'll also hear from Matt McMahon a little bit later on. Got some Super Bowl props that we looked at on Friday. How did those do? We'll get the grading tool out at the end of the hour at number 1. We'll start with the Super Bowl. I thought it was a great game. I know that it got off to a little bit of a slow start in terms of the offenses. I know that there were some sloppy turnovers. I don't know if it was the most perfectly played Super Bowl, but I thought it was a really compelling game. I thought it was an interesting game, an exciting game. And in the end, as they have now 3 times in 5 years, the Kansas City Chiefs come out on top. The biggest storyline for me in this game was the decision by Kyle Shanahan to take the football in overtime. I will be completely candid with you. I think about sports more than anything in my life. I cover sports for a job. I talk about the NFL weekly. I did not know the overtime rules when they got to overtime. My wife, who doesn't watch football at all, looked at me and goes, well, what's the rule in overtime? And I was under the impression that since the Mahomes-Josh Allen game, we were still playing where if you get the ball and you go down and you score a touchdown, the game's over. I did not know it had changed. I don't know when that happened or who decided it happened or when the report was. I don't remember that. And I'm guessing there are some of you in the same boat as me that weren't 100% certain on that. But now, understanding what the rules are and that both teams are going to get the football, I do not understand Kyle Shanahan's decision to take the ball. He said he wanted to have it third. So if both teams go down and get the same amount of points, you now have the football for sudden death. That's an if. That's if both teams do the same thing. It's an if. There is no if in terms of the second team is getting the ball. That's going to happen. I want that to be me. It's the same reason college teams want to play defense first, because they know what they have to do in overtime depending on what the other offense does. If you're Kyle Shanahan, you've now taken the football and you don't know what you're playing for. The Chiefs, when they got it, knew they had to go for it on fourth downs and they had to at least get a field goal.
So they changed the rules in 2022 after that Bills-Chiefs game, but there had not been an overtime since then.
Right.
And then so the Super Bowl is the first game.
But I don't like Kyle Shanahan playing a what-if game there.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can't try to plan. It's not like chess.
Play
like
the certainty. The certainty is that the second team's getting the ball and that the second team's going to know what they need to get. Playing for the uncertainty of getting the ball third and then having the first opportunity at Southern Death, I think is completely incorrect. I'm not as concerned with the fact that Kyle Juszczyk didn't know the rules. Like, he's just calling whatever the play they're going to call. Kyle Shanahan did know the rules. I think he made the wrong decision. Am I off base here?
No, I agree with you. I don't understand why it's like college overtime.
Yeah.
The team always defers because they want to know what they need to do. So to me, I don't see why you think you should try to plan 3 steps ahead when you need to make. First of all, you got to get the first step. You got to score a touchdown if you get the ball. But also, it doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't want to know what you have to do.
He's playing for the third possession, which I thought was incorrect, and it ended up costing him because Mahomes got the football and knew exactly what he needed to do, and went down the field and got it done. And last night we talked on Friday back about who had the most on the line. And while, yes, Brock Purdy etching himself as a Super Bowl winning quarterback is a huge deal, yes, Kyle Shanahan winning Super Bowl for the first time would be a huge deal, I thought the biggest implication was on Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and they elevate themselves into a tier that just doesn't have many people in it. And that's been the majority of the discussion today, but it's often lazy and tired to start talking about all-time greats immediately after a game is played or a moment happens. But now we're in very firmly the Mahomes era. There was a Brady era, and we're very firmly in a Mahomes era. Josh Allen is awesome. We think Joe Burrow is fantastic around here. Jalen Hurts had a great year last year. Lamar Jackson's won a couple of MVPs, which puts him in rare air. But ultimately, when you start having the discussion, it revolves around that game that we're watching last night. And when you start having those discussions, Patrick Mahomes now a 3-time Super Bowl winning quarterback. You're in a league with Aikman and Bradshaw and Brady. It's a very Montana. It's a very, very small list, and he's rapidly rising. And it feels like in this era where guys are playing so deep into their 30s at a high level at that position, you feel like Patrick Mahomes has like 10 years left to etch his name wherever it's going to be etched. And last night was a huge step forward. I heard Jimmy and Charlie in the show earlier talking about legacies and these Chiefs teams compared to Bradshaw's Steelers or Aikman's Cowboys, and the Chiefs aren't blowing teams out, and that's true. The Cowboys dusted the Bills. They dusted the Steelers. Like, they crushed those teams in the Aikman era. And the Chiefs are playing close Super Bowls with Philly and now with San Francisco, but they're winning. And they always find a way to win. And I think what, to me, was such a powerful statement of that organization to move on from Tyreek Hill. He's probably the best wide receiver in the NFL. And they were like, we can make it all work. We just need 15. And with 15 and Andy Reid, and you throw Kelsey in there for whatever his piece to this whole thing is, like, that's all that really matters. And they've got it, and they're so damn good and consistent. And I think a lot of people have made a lot of the fact that the Chiefs have been down 10 in all 3 of these Super Bowl wins. And I think that's relevant. I think that's pertinent. I think that's part of how good they are. They never panic. They're never out of the game. And they always make the plays at the end to win it. And by the way, I think a little feather in the cap of Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals to be the one team over these years that has been able to get over the hump outside of Tom Brady, who beat him. That's a nice little feather in Joe's hat. But I thought last night the game was awesome. I thought that it was really compelling. It had my wife's interest. It had my interest. The clutch kicks, even though one of them was pretty short. The big-time gutsy decisions. There were multiple 4th downs where the head coaches went for it on 4th and 3s where field goals were available, and they were pushing the envelope and making huge plays. But ultimately, what matters when you boil the Super Bowl down to what it is Patrick Mahomes being the best quarterback going right now and one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. And they've had some rotating parts around him, but he's been the consistent, and he's very much in his prime and very much continuing to rattle off Super Bowls. I think to put it into context from a local perspective, we know how awesome Drew Brees was. Watching him every single Sunday for 15 years, he was just fantastic. He only got to that game one time. And for Patrick Mahomes to have won it 3 it should not be minimized, I think. I mean, that's as contextual as I can put it. We're spoiled around here with some of the things that LSU does, and they've gotten to the national championship and in football and won that thing 3 times and played for it 4 over the last 20 years. If you've been following LSU baseball for 30 years, you've seen the highest of highs, and it feels and looks kind of routine to some of the teams that we pay attention to so frequently. But the fact of the matter is that the right perspective is looking at it through the lens of how great those Peyton Breeze teams were for so long and how difficult it is to climb through and get all the way to the top and win. And they continue to do it in a conference that's got Burrow, that's got Allen, that's got Lamar Jackson. And they continue to roll through it. And so I think it would be a mistake on our part to look at that and go, man, it's just Chiefs. I mean, the best player that win the Super Bowl. No, it's so hard to do. And they're kind of making it look routine. It was awesome to watch last night. I thought the game in its entirety was so good. So we'll talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl coming up at the end of the hour. I want to go through my bets and see how much cash we won over on ESPN Bet. When we come back, we will talk about LSU's basketball game against Alabama back on Saturday morning. It was a high-scoring affair. Tigers came up on the short end. I'll talk about it next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
Have a safe Mardi Gras weekend. Join us for a Lundy Gras edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Reacting to LSU, Alabama, the Super Bowl, and counting down the first pitch of the box. Hunt Palmer Show 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moving right along here on this Lundy Gras edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We will be having all of our shows tomorrow. OTB will be 7 to 10. I think Max will be handling live at lunch with Charlie and Jimmy off tomorrow. I'll be on, and Matt will as well. So if you had the day off, still lock us in because we'll be here all day long, live and local, tomorrow for Mardi Gras. I hope if you were out on the routes this weekend, you had a big time. We certainly did. Myersman, not the best parade behavior. Does not want to sit in the ladders. Isn't capable of catching anything. So it's basically just trying to keep him from getting pelted in the head by beads as he runs around, digs into things. But it was fun. We had a good time on the route down in New Orleans over the weekend. Because of that, I did not watch every dribble of LSU and Alabama. I was watching on my phone periodically, monitoring the score. But the box score tells the story of this game. LSU loses at 109-92, and that's essentially all you need to know. LSU got into a game with the best offensive team in the country where it was up and down and up and down and up and down trying to keep up, and LSU is okay at that, but they're playing the team that's the best at it. And so you end up, for the second time in 3 weeks, giving up over 100 points to Alabama. Matt McMahon met with the media after the game and kind of summarized what he thought of the ball game.
Yeah, Sheldon, I'm not trying to oversimplify the game here, but at the end of the day, when you pull the box, because of offensive rebounding and turnovers, they shot 81 balls in the game. We only shot 60. So hard to win.
Yeah, that's correct. 81 shot attempts for Alabama in the game. They shot 44 threes. And what did we say on Friday? How is LSU going to stay in the game with Alabama? Well, one, you have to maximize your possessions. You can't turn it over. Alabama does not force turnovers with any great regularity. Oftentimes, they force less than 10 in SEC games. And your turnover numbers weren't atrocious. You turn it over 12 times. You could usually live with that, but you're really going to need to cut that down closer to like 7. Will Baker was putting the ball on the floor too much. I did see him turn the ball over multiple times off the dribble, and he had 5 turnovers in the game. Now, he played well offensively in totality. You're talking about a guy that put up 24 points, ate a couple of threes, knocked down his free throws, and was functional on the offensive side and put some points on the board, but he did turn the ball over 5 times, and you simply weren't able to get Alabama to turn the ball over to limit their shot attempts. Alabama only had 8 turnovers in the game, and they shot, like he said, 81 field goals and 17 free throws. So it's tough if you're LSU playing against Alabama because Matthew Brune wants his guys to play fast. He wants to create tempo. He wants to get up and down, and LSU's got some guys that can do that. Trey Hannibal likes to play in transition. Jalen Cook likes to play in transition. Jordan Wright likes to play in transition. We've seen a lot of Jalen Reed, kind of moving downhill. Like, they like to play that way, but you're not as good at it as Alabama is. So you're playing their game, and if you're playing their game, they're going to dictate the terms of that, and they're just better, and they were able to get a ton of shots up. We said to keep it close, LSU was going to have to hope that Alabama had one of those days where they couldn't throw it in the ocean. Talking about the game that they lost earlier to Auburn, I think they were like 4 of 21 at one point from 3. Like, in this game, they shot 41% from the three-point line. They made 18 threes. It's just Nate Oates has a system. He's got analytics that back it, and he's recruited masterfully to it. They have guys that make a lot of jump shots, and they shoot a ton of jump shots. Mark Sears had 19 field goal attempts in the game on Saturday. He made 4 of 9 threes. Wrightsell had 6 threes in the game. It's not just one guy. It's the entirety of that operation that's just very difficult to deal with. And so if you're LSU, yeah, you like to play up tempo, but you have to think about, in this game, trying to take the air out of the ball a little bit. And they didn't. They just got up and went after it on Alabama. And in the end, you come up grossly short. Like, it's just, you're 17 points short. Yeah, they took a lead with like 7 minutes to go, but inevitably that dam's going to break, and it did. And Alabama ran away from LSU in the last 5 minutes of the game because they're playing the game that they want to play. You can't allow 109 points in an SEC basketball game. 81 field goals and 17 free throws in 40 minutes. That's just way too many shot opportunities for Alabama, and the law of averages are going to get you on that. And they did. I don't know if LSU will play Alabama again in the SEC tournament, but if they do, you would think that they could learn from these 2 outings. Like, you simply cannot get up and down with this team. You just can't. Can't do it. And LSU did play pretty well offensively, but Matthew Brune did have a little bit of an issue with some of the shot selection. That's what he said after the game.
How do you feel about the shot selection? Is that
It's
something
poor.
you'd have to go see?
It's poor. Poor shot selection. Every man for himself. And that hadn't been a good formula for us. I think our point guards had 10 assists at halftime. Our point guards finished the game with 10 assists. We're better when the ball moves, and we play a lot of team basketball. It's been a lot better formula for us.
And Alabama's really good at that too. Alabama had 25 assists in the game. LSU had 15. A lot of stuff off the dribble for LSU. And I have a hard time. Like, obviously, Matt Man's frustrated in that bite. You can hear it in his voice. You just got beat by 17 points, gave up 109. But I can't bash the offense too bad when you scored 92. Yeah, it's an up and down game, but you shot 55% from the floor. You shot 37% from 3, which is fine. You got to the line, and the turnovers weren't egregious. Maybe in crunch time, when LSU was close, they didn't get the shots that Matthew Brune wanted, and maybe that's what he's alluding to. Maybe the last 4 or 5 minutes weren't what he wanted. But in totality, the 40 minutes weren't egregiously bad. 92 points is fine. The defensive side of things, where we thought analytically this team looked pretty good on defense. They were forcing some turnovers early. And against A&M, it looked pretty good. But it's just, when you get in with these really good teams, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, they're basically getting whatever they want on you. So instead of bashing the shot selection and all that, I'm going to go to the defense and say, guys, you got to do better than giving up 109 points. And again, they're in this stretch that we all knew was coming. And from the outset, I gave you my criteria on what LSU needed to do over this 3-week span. It was win 1 game. They went up there to Knoxville, got crushed, expected. Came back to Baton Rouge, got beat by Alabama, probably expected. And we'll see what they can do in South Carolina and Florida over the weekend. I feel like the Florida game is probably a little more winnable. South Carolina looks to be pretty damn good. And then Kentucky comes here next Wednesday, and that's a team that's reeling a little bit. We'll talk more about SEC basketball as we move forward, but that team is struggling to put wins together. They've lost 3 home games in a row. You just got to find a way to get one. And that sounds defeatist, and it sounds moral victory-ish, and it sounds like a bad expectation. Oh, you're trying to win 1 out of 5. Well, that's just the situation you're in with the schedule. We all know it. We know that Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, and Kentucky is just a much more difficult stretch than Arkansas, Missouri, Vanderbilt, etc. Like, those are far more winnable games. And if you want to look back on this season and feel like things have progressed from 2 wins in the league to last year to whatever this will be, that's kind of the formula here. Find a way to steal 1 for your 5th SEC win, and then maybe over the last 5 you can win 3, and all of a sudden that's 8 and 10 in the league. And if you'd have signed me up for 8 and 10 in the league on Christmas, I'd have signed it. I'd have been fine with it. I don't want to have that discussion. You don't have that discussion with the women's basketball team. You don't have that discussion with the baseball team. You don't have that discussion with football. But it's the reality of the situation. That's where the program is. Find a way to get 1. I'm encouraged by Will Baker's recent offensive surge. He's now put 3 quality offensive games together. That's another option for you. It's kind of the Jordan Wright, Jalen Cook show, and we saw how that worked out when you went to Knoxville. Cook didn't play, and Wright was poor, and you got dusted. You've got to have another option, and we thought early on that Will Baker would be that guy. Came out of the plays gangbusters in the opener, knocking down threes, getting to the basket. Turns out that was against a team that literally has not won a game all season. But you thought, oh, this is a good offensive player. And then he kind of went to sleep for 6 weeks. But now it doesn't feel like it's just been one flash in the pan for Baker where he just was throwing in a bunch of threes against Arkansas. He's put 3 quality games together offensively. That's a step in the right direction for him and for this team. Just got to play a little bit of defense, though. You got to play a little bit of defense. Can't allow 109 points to Alabama. That's just simply not going to get it done. So LSU's next one coming up this week. Is it Florida or South Carolina? I don't recall. Those are the 2 games this week, both on the road. But that'll be next for LSU, and we'll preview that one coming up tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about this game with Matthew Brune from On 3. He'll join us at the top of hour number 2, straight up 2 o'clock, 35 minutes from right now. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, for all your printer, copy, or scanner needs. They can help you at Gulf Coast Office Products. This is what Trey always tells me when I talk to him about Gulf Coast Office Products. Says, look, there are mom and pop shops that you have great relationships with that are wonderful people to work for, maybe don't have the capability of the big box store. You can work with the huge corporation based out of Atlanta, and they've got all the capabilities you can need, but you don't have a very personal relationship, and you might not be able to get who you're trying to get. Gulf Coast Office Products is a mix right in the middle. They've got all the capabilities. I just went to their warehouse last week. They have $1 million of copiers, scanners, printers ready to roll out the door on a given moment. And you've got great relationships with the people that work there, like Trey Beal. So for all your printer, copier, office supply needs, that is Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com. We come back, talk a little bit about baseball. Some freshmen you may not know that I'll kind of get you warmed up to here as we start inching towards opening day coming up on Friday. Don't go anywhere. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio, video, security solutions. Nothing more important than your security. That's why Mitchell Fisher is going out to my new home next week to put in our new security system. ABSSLA.com is where you can find our friends at Audio, Video, Security Solutions. Look, they can provide all the equipment you need, whether it's the televisions and the speakers and the wiring to put in your surround sound, or it's the cameras and the monitors for your security system. They can do all of that. Get home surveillance, 24/7 recording and playback, simultaneous live views on your app so you can always monitor what's going on around your home. Plus, no cloud storage fees with our friends over at AVSS. Check them out online, avssla.com. It's avssla.com. Or give Mitchell Fisher a call. It's his number, 225-439-7920. 225-439-7920. That's our friends at Audio Video Security Solutions.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We're recapping Super Bowl 58, and it's game week for LSU baseball. We're counting you down. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Your national champion LSU Tigers open the 2024 season Friday, February 16th. That is this Friday, and we'll be broadcasting live from the box from 7 to 10. Off the bench will be live from Championship Plaza. Then join Hunt for a special edition of the Hunt Palmer Show from noon to 2. Come out to Fan Fest presented by Coca-Cola at noon and stay to welcome the Tigers as they take the field for the first time this season. It's opening day at the box with 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Difficult to temper my excitement for that show that Beck was just talking about there on Friday. As he mentioned, we'll be out there from noon to 2, just outside the box in Championship Plaza, and very, very excited to be out there. We'll lead you right up to first pitch between LSU and VMI. I haven't checked the weather yet, so we'll see. Hopefully it's a pleasant day for the opener. I've sat through some really, really cold season openers for LSU baseball. My first game as a student back in 2007. It was Paul Maneri's first game as the head coach at LSU. They played St. Mary's, and it was freezing at the old box. It was so cold.
It's not going to be freezing.
Good.
Low of 52, high of 68, but there is a 70% chance of rain on Friday.
That's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Hopefully that's just a little bit too early to look at the forecast, and we'll have that squared away by Friday. We can't have rain going on and delaying baseball at the box. But I do want to talk a little baseball here. Because of the transfer portal, the impact freshmen are going to have in collegiate athletics, I think, is lessened because it's just so much easier to go fill a need with a junior from somewhere else than it is to force a freshman to play potentially before they're ready. So if you look back at LSU last year, not a ton of big impact freshmen. Certainly towards the end, Gavin Guidry was a key piece to the bullpen. No question about that. Early on, Jared Jones and Paxton Kling made their move in the lineup, but both of those guys were replaced by veterans as time went on. They realized they had to get Cade Beloso more at bats. Josh Pearson went into the lineup. Hayden Travinsky found his way into the lineup as well. And so you kind of lessened the impact that Jones and Kling had to have. Brady Neal was a contributor as a freshman, but then obviously got hurt. So it wasn't a team that relied a ton on freshmen. They were very veteran, they were very old, and they were very talented, and that's the way that the kind of things went. And I feel like this LSU team, while it doesn't have the star power of Cruz and Skeens, does have a lot of really talented veterans. And I don't think that the freshmen are going to make a huge impact on this team. I could certainly be wrong, but as I was looking through the freshman class earlier today to kind of look at what segment I could put together, I don't see a monster impact likely. I think it's possible that Jake Brown becomes a star offensively. I think he's going to start the game on Friday out in the outfield, and I think there's a chance that he could potentially play some first base as well. But he's going to have to fight off some older players. Brown's a kid who, at this time, well, actually as of a month ago, I thought Jake Brown was a pitcher. And now all of a sudden you're telling me that he's going to be an offensive player for this LSU team and going to be an outfielder. I think that he's shown him a lot. And for him to come in as a left-handed pitcher and to be impressive enough to where they look at this and go, this is an outfielder now. Like that's got to mean something for what he did in the fall. But we'll see where he slides into the lineup and just how often he does play. Brown is number one, I think, in terms of impact. And the second guy I think is an obvious candidate is Cam Johnson because of the talent level. If you look at Perfect Game or D1 Baseball or any of these sites that analyze draft classes and college baseball, they're going to tell you that Cam Johnson is among the 5 most talented freshman baseball players in the country. I think you can look over at Gainesville, Florida. They've got a freshman that very well may be in their rotation, but Cam Johnson's in the discussion, and he's 6 foot. Let's see, what's he listed as? Let's check this roster and find Cam Johnson. I want to say 6'3", but I want to be correct when I say 6'3". So let's look at Cam Johnson. Oh, 6'5". 6'5", listed at 251 pounds, and he throws a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. They're going to ease him along. I don't think he's going to start one of the 4 games this weekend, and I don't think if LSU has a 2-run lead in the 8th inning on Friday that he's going to be the guy that Jay Johnson goes to. I think you're going to see him in a fairly low-leverage spot for the first couple of times. The high-leverage situations are going to go to Guidry. They're going to go to Ackenhausen. They're going to go to Justin Lohr. They're going to go to some of those guys that are older. They're going to ease Cam Johnson in, and just how he handles himself on the mound will dictate whether or not the leverage of those situations goes up. It's tantalizing to want to put a 6'5", 250-pound freshman left-hander on the mound in a huge spot and just throw him to the fish, but I don't think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see them ease Cam Johnson in, and if he thrives, then yeah, you could see him, be a huge piece for this LSU staff. But I think it's going to be a slow progression. Those are the 2 guys who I think have the best chance to be huge impact players for LSU as the season moves forward. There are a couple other guys that I think are worth mentioning that could potentially force their way into the lineup, but I would bet a little bit against it right now. One of those is Stephen Milam. He is a switch hitter. He is a middle infielder by trade. He can play shortstop and second base, but he is a really, really good hitter. And he was a draft risk for LSU, no question about it, but he's short. So that's why he did not get drafted. It's pretty clear. He's got every tool you want. He's got a pretty good arm. There is pop in his bat, but there just aren't a lot of scouts that are going to project a player his size at 5'8", 170 pounds to be, a superstar in Major League Baseball. So while he does have some tools, it's the size that holds him back, and that's benefits to LSU because it ended up getting him to campus. He's got a really, really flat swing, really short swing. He can drive it out of the ballpark, and he can hit from both sides of the plate. LSU, in my opinion, is going to be looking for left-handed bats. If you start to look at a lot of the guys in this LSU lineup that are going to be key contributors, it's a lot of right-handed dudes. It's Tommy White. It's Jared Jones. It's Paxton Kling. It's Hayden Travinsky. It's Michael Braswell. All these guys are right-handed. Milazzo is. So you're looking at Neal and Pearson as left-handed hitters. Now you add Jake Brown to the lineup, and then potentially if Stephen Milam were to find a way into the lineup, maybe at second base if he plays well early on, that's another guy who can swing the bat from the left side. His defense in the fall was not great. He looks really good when he makes the play. You look at his infield action and it's smooth and you're like, oh, wow. But he had trouble making the routine play a lot at second base, so that's something that we're definitely going to monitor. I think Josh Pearson is going to hold down second base, but if they do have to move him to the outfield because he either can't play second base or because somebody goes down in the outfield and the next reasonable move is to put Pearson back out there, then all of a sudden you may open a spot for a guy like Stephen Milam or potentially Ben DePolt. But we're talking about freshmen here, so I'm talking about Stephen Milam. That might be a guy that LSU wants to go to. Another guy that has been interesting to me to watch early on here in his LSU time is Ashton Larson, who was a outfielder when LSU signed him, and he was certainly a draft pick risk from the Midwest. But he's come down and he's played a little bit of first base as well. So I'm curious to see if that's a position that he sticks at long term, or if that's just something they're looking at preseason this year, because you can always send him back to the outfield if it doesn't work out. But Ashton Larson, really, really talented player. And over the course of these, I think it's 8 games in 10 days to start the season, you've got a couple of 4-day weekends. I think you're going to see some of these guys get some at-bats, especially if games get out of hand. So Ashton Larson is one to look at for sure. And then Derek Mitchell is very interesting. I don't think he's going to be a key piece to this team. I think he's probably a year away, but he's got incredible tools. He can run really well. He's got a big arm. He's got projectable size. He's got a lot of the same attributes that Paxton Kling has, which is why those guys were both considered draft risks coming out of high school. Kling got here from the Northeast. And you do bring Derek Mitchell in. Again, another guy that can hit from both sides of the plate. I really like his swing from the left side. I think you'll see him play a little bit, but that's not a guy I would expect to have a huge impact. And the last freshman worth talking about would be Cade Anderson, the left-hander. On a staff that's loaded with veteran lefties, I don't know how quickly Cade Anderson gets to the mound, but this was as good an arm as there was in the state of Louisiana last year, and I'm interested to see him pitch. I mentioned there's 8 games in 10 days. All these guys are going to have to pitch at some point because there are so many innings to play over the first week and a half of the season. I'm curious to see what Cade Anderson can do from the left side. Seen the fastball, 92-ish, and he's got a good breaking ball, and he profiles as a starting pitcher moving forward. So again, you're going to see Griffin Herring and Nate Ackenhausen and Justin Lord, all these left-handers first in these high leverage spots. But as lower leverage situations crop up early in the season, I think you're going to see those are kind of the freshmen I would keep an eye on. There are some more. Ryan Kucherak is a middle infielder that Jay Johnson likes a lot, but I don't think he's going to see a ton of early playing time. Of the freshmen I think could potentially break their way into the lineup, you're looking at Cam Johnson, Jake Brown, Cade Anderson, Stephen Milam, Ashton Larson, and Derek Mitchell. My bet is that Jake Brown and Cam Johnson are the first to make a big impact, but it would not shock me at all if Cade Anderson found his way into some high leverage spots as a left-handed pitcher, or if Stephen Milam found his way into the infield as a middle infielder, very likely second base. I think Braswell's got a stranglehold on shortstop, but I'm just I'm curious to see what those guys look like, and we'll find out coming up here on Friday with a 2:00 first pitch against VMI. Jay Johnson met with the media back on Friday. We've got some sound from him that we'll play a little bit later on in the show because we're kind of inching towards baseball. I look at the show prep today and I was like, all right, what do we want to talk about? How much Super Bowl do we want to do? I know a lot of people were doing their entire shows on Super Bowl. I think you've probably gotten quite a fill on the Super Bowl, so we talked about it at the top, and I wanted to mix a little basketball and baseball in, but we will shift back over to the Super Bowl here coming up. I want to talk a little bit about recruiting and how many 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars played in the Super Bowl. Plus, I gave you a bunch of prop bets back on Friday. We'll get the grading pen out and see how we did on those coming up as we finish up hour number 1 on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
On Tuesday's OTB. Happy Mardi Gras, y'all. Hear from Coach Kim Mulkey after their beatdown of Alabama. Nick Underhill stops by to talk Saints and the new hires. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
You're You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Interesting little write-up on 247sports.com about the recruits, the recruiting rankings in the Super Bowl. We'll get to my bets here in a second, but you consider sheer number of high school recruiting prospects and then how few reach the Super Bowl. Some of these numbers I think are interesting. 32% of the players on the active roster for the Chiefs and 49ers were 4 or 5-star players. And you might say, well, 32%, like that's not very many. Most of the guys aren't. But you got to consider the fact that only 1 out of 12 FBS signees is a 4 or 5-star recruit. So basically 8% of high school football players are 4 or 5-star. Yet 32% of the players in the Super Bowl are 4 and 5-star players. So you're talking about 4x of what would be normal. If you look at 5-star prospects, there are only 32 every year on 24/7 Sports. So that makes up 1.25% of the signees. But 6.6% were 5-star recruits in the Super Bowl. So 5-star players are more than 6 times more likely to play in the Super Bowl than any other caliber of recruit. Stars, generally speaking, went out. Now, Travis Kelce was a 2-star quarterback. Now he's the greatest tight end maybe in the history of the NFL. So it's not gospel, but those 4 and 5-star players, generally going to help you out. Generally going to help you out. All right, Beck, let's talk about my bets here. You've got a buzzer for my incorrect. You've got a bell to ding for my correct bets. So let's go through and check this out. First, let's do my $100. I said if you have $100, this is how I might chop that up with some of the props that I like. So I had a $15 play to win $900 on any offensive lineman to score a touchdown. That did not hit. I love that play. Shanahan's creative.
I really liked
Andy
it.
Reid's creative. Gotta get it.
They had a trick play in there, just wasn't to an alignment.
They did, and it worked. Number 2, I had a $25 play here to win $65 on each team with a passing and a rushing touchdown. That did not hit. Or no rushing touchdowns by the 49ers. Each team to score a touchdown and a field goal in both halves, plus 2,200, 30 to win 660. That did not hit. That did not hit. Did not. I think the Chiefs had 7 at halftime. Is that right?
Yeah.
That did not hit. And then I had $30 on Christian McCaffrey to win the MVP. How'd that look? So that was 0 for 4 on that one. Now, I told you that ESPN Bet had that great promo that if you just placed any bet, they still have it, placed any bet on any game, that you could get $100 free to bet. And so I went through and placed a couple of those. A couple were duplicates. I had Christian McCaffrey to win the MVP and any offensive lineman to score a touchdown. We know that those didn't hit. I also had each starting quarterback to record 300-plus passing yards. That did not hit. Brock Purdy came up just a little bit short. I was hoping we were going to get some more overtime action, and that could hit, but it did not work. I had any player to score 4 touchdowns. That did not hit. Then I had the big play. Big play, $20 to win over $3,000. It was plus 15,000 on the app for any player to throw for 506 or more yards, a Super Bowl record. That did not hit. So that is what, 0 for 8?
Yes.
Is that good?
No, it's not.
Jimmy would be very, very disappointed in my plays. So look, I had the opportunity of trying to cash big with that promo from ESPN Bet. Didn't work out for me. My wife forgot to download the app, so we didn't get that done.
Okay.
The Palmers did not cash out big on the Super Bowl.
I was telling you earlier, I had Deebo Samuel first touchdown scorer in the game at plus 1,000. He had a ball come to him in the end zone. It was really close. It got tipped away, and I was on my hands and knees there. And then I had Kelce as well. I was kind of want to have a player on each team. Kelce to score a first touchdown, and then the Christian McCaffrey trick play happens.
It did,
and that was it.
That was that play looked like it was blown up.
Yeah,
it did
I know.
It took forever to develop, and then McCaffrey catches it in the C's part, and he just flies right up.
I think it was almost like a triple trick play because they did the double pass, but I guess they tried to make it look like he was going to throw downfield on the first pass over. It was like, oh no, he's not throwing downfield. He's just throwing back over across to Christian McCaffrey, and it worked.
Look at the new odds to win next year's Super Bowl. I'm looking at ESPN Bet up on the screen right there. San Francisco actually has the shortest odds at plus 500. Got Kansas City at plus 700. You want to get down on Mahomes, you're not going to get much better than plus 700.
I don't think so.
So you might want to jump in there and make that happen. Is it worth it placing a bet and you have to wait 365 days?
I guess it is. It was plus 700. I mean, sure, why not?
The next best odds, let's see, are the Bengals up there? The Bengals are not up there, which is
No, they're
interesting.
not.
Are people thinking that their run is over? It was quick. I would think that they would be up there.
I did see that
they got the Jets at 25-1.
Yeah, the Aaron Rodgers effect, I guess.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about Aaron Rodgers. How is that possible? That was all anyone talked about all of August and then into the first game, and I forgot he played for the Jets. That was a total brain fart on the air by me there. I was like, the Jets suck. Who's betting on that? Forgot their quarterback wasn't there.
But funnily enough, I saw that the ESPN already has a way too early NFL power rankings, and they had the Ravens number 1, and so that's interesting because they were not the top odds on winning the Super Bowl next year. So
we'll see. That's a Super Bowl. That's a football season in the books. No football until maybe the week before Labor Day. Is that a week 0?
Yeah,
for
week
college?
0.
Week
yeah,
0 for college. I'm always wishy-washy on that. You give me a real game, I'll watch it, but I'm not just going to watch Toledo and Tulsa play.
You're not true. You're not a true
just,
degenerate.
I just don't have that gear. So that's your look at my bets, which were absolutely atrocious. Lost every single one. I had a great Super Bowl betting last year. I hit Jalen Hurts' first touchdown. I hit a couple of kicking props. I probably cashed out about $180 last year. This year, not so much. No luck whatsoever for me. So my promo dollars are gone on ESPN Bet. All right, that's it for hour number 1 here on this Monday. Our Monday show is always brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. And when I was talking with Trey, over at GCOP, he was talking about how every vertical market has different printer needs, and I would not have even considered that. He's talking about, law firms need more trays with the legal size paper, so you got to deal with that. You're talking about y'all in radio broadcasting and sales when you're doing proposal. You need one that's got a higher resolution so you can get proposals together. There's a different need for hospitals or for law firms. Let Trey Beal and his team at Gulf Coast Office Products come in, assess your needs, and get you fixed up with all your printer, copier, and scanner needs. They are an awesome organization, fantastic people over there. Trey is the president, and he runs the Baton Rouge area branch here. And as I mentioned, they've got $1 million of printers, copier, and scanners ready to roll at a given moment right there in their location in Baton Rouge. Fantastic people. Check them out at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. And hour number 1, we opened the show talking a little bit about the Super Bowl. Talked also about LSU and Alabama on the hardwood. Tigers took it on the chin against Nate Oates, tied. I gave my reaction at 1:15. And then a little baseball there at 1:30, talking about some of the freshmen that I expect to see a potential impact from coming up starting on Friday. And then my Super Bowl prop bets. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, you can always find us. Just search The Hunt Palmer Show. You can always find us on YouTube for your Saints info, Hunt on Saints for your LSU football, Hunt on LSU. Appreciate all your subscriptions, likes, comments, and everybody that's hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat currently. We're going to step away for SportsCenter. We come back in hour number 2. We're going to have Matthew Brune talking hoops. We got some more baseball here from Jay Johnson as well. And at 1-3, he's got SEC football win totals. It's all after SportsCenter. Coming up next.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Chiefs, fresh off back-to-back Super Bowl titles, are now focused on winning a 3rd straight, which quarterback Patrick Mahomes said would be legendary. He also said today they've got to play their best football. They'll celebrate these next few weeks and then get right back at it. Coach Andy Reid called the prospect of winning 3 straight pretty neat. An admission from multiple 49ers players after the Super Bowl 58 loss said they were not aware of the overtime rules. Last night was the first Super Bowl played under the new playoff OT rules that ensured both teams get a chance to possess the ball before the game ends. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
For them to not be in totality prepared for any and everything is a disadvantage. And I'm shocked that Kyle, who I think the world of and who was in an overtime Super Bowl, didn't have that team prepared, at least for the knowledge of it.
Kansas City defensive lineman Chris Jones told reporters they talked for 2 weeks about the new OT rules. UCLA hired former star player, longtime assistant coach Deshaun Foster as its new football coach. He takes over for Chip Kelly, now the offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, are the Chiefs the clear favorite to three-peat, or will a new challenger emerge? I'll give you my top 5 contenders for next season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
To something quite extraordinary.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. 1 hour to go here on this Lundy Gras. Hope you're having a good one. Let out the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Talk some hoops with our guy Matthew Brune from the Bengal Tiger, part of the On3 Network. He joins us now. How are you, sir?
Hey, Hunt. I'm doing great. Basketball weekend, Super Bowl, Mardi Gras, everything's going on, so I'm doing great.
There's a lot going on. We'll throw baseball into the mix here coming up on Friday. Let's talk LSU, Alabama. I was not at the game or the press conference, but it sounded like Matt McMahon was a little testy post-game. Did you sense that?
On a couple answers, for sure. I think the one that I know people had talked about was on shot selection, and that's his biggest thing. That's been his biggest point of emphasis really the entire conference season, and it's true to one extent. You know, he has some players that can take some bad shots, Jalen Cook namely. Will Baker and Jordan Wright can sometimes settle for tough shots. We know, Trey Hannibal maybe throw it in there. So shot selection's been a big thing for him. But at the same time, he wants them to play fast. They're top 40 or top 60 in the country in offensive pace, and he said before he wants them to play fast. And so it's kind of a give and take. It's an interesting battle he's kind of wrestling because you can't take bad shots against Tennessee and Alabama and these good teams, but that's what they're doing, and they're getting killed.
What did you think about LSU's decision to play as up-tempo as they did on Saturday against a team that's number 1 in the country in offensive efficiency?
Yeah, I was surprised because coming off of the game at Alabama that I think we talked about before 2 weeks ago where they lost by 20 and gave up 109 points, I expected them to come to this game, especially with Jalen and Hunter Dean kind of limited throughout the week. I thought they would slow it down, and they didn't really. They continued to play up pace. They continued to kind of let Alabama do what they wanted to do offensively, and as a result, it was almost the same exact score as the first one and allowed 109 points again.
Look, it's interesting to me that he was critical of shot selection and seemed to be disparaging the offense after they had put up 92 points in a league game. It would seem like the difficult stuff to talk about would be the defense when you're allowed 109. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think he was a lot of his frustration was because they were close with about 8 minutes left, and then I think they had a couple possessions where it was turnover, bad shot, and Bama gets out and runs, and it's basically 6 points for them in a row. So I think he's looking at it from a specific possession standpoint. But I agree overall, allowing 109 points to a team twice, I don't care if you're playing the Golden State Warriors, is just ridiculous in college basketball.
I would tend to agree. What was the biggest issue on defense?
I just still don't think they're athletic enough in the front court. And this isn't all about Will Baker or Jalen Reed or Fountain or anything. But just in general, teams are comfortable getting kind of to the rim and forcing help. And, Jalen Cook's not a big guy. Jordan Wright's been a good defender, but overall their defensive personnel I still don't think is where it needs to be or where they want it to be. But I said that going into the year. Going into the year, defense was my concern, and they've kind of been better than I expected on that end. But when you play in Alabama, it was just not a good matchup for them at all. I think in the future they're going to have to get more athletic at the 5 and the 4.
Will Baker, kind of 3 solid statistical games offensively. What have they kind of unlocked with him?
Yeah, he's been more aggressive. He was fantastic offensively against Alabama, 24 points, 16 points against Tennessee, 25 against Arkansas. He's just been more aggressive. I think he's been more confident, and he's hit threes. I think that's the biggest thing for him is he took a lot of threes early in the season, and they weren't falling. He kept taking them, and now they're falling. So you add that to his game, he's able to kind of shoot over bigger guys and take the smaller guys in the post. So that makes him a tough matchup, but we'll see. He's going to have to sustain that moving forward.
Has Jalen Cook's poor shooting surprised you?
No, I think the inconsistencies with his creation has surprised me more And I know he had 4 assists to 1 turnover against Alabama, but he had 0 assists in the second half. It just feels like he gets in those modes where he's shooting, not really looking for anybody else. I knew he'd have some trouble with the size in the SEC. I mean, you see smaller guards across the country when you play that type of athleticism struggle. But I just feel like when your shot's not falling, or you're not getting to the spots you want, he's good enough to create for others more than what he's doing right now. And so I think that's part of where McMahon's frustration comes from, is you're a really good point guard, and if your shot's not falling, or if you're having to settle for these step-back threes from 25 feet, just try to get in the paint or try to create for somebody else here, because we know you can do it and we need you to do it. So I think that's where McMahon's frustration is.
We know this is the toughest part on the schedule. This 5-game grind is going to be something. And last week we talked about, man, if they could just find a way to get one. How do you like their chances this week going on the road a couple of times?
I don't love it,
Yep.
but Florida is really good. They have some really good guards. They're going to score the heck out the ball. They're 12th in the country in offensive efficiency. And South Carolina's been the surprise of really the entire country. 21-3 overall, 9-2 in conference. I think South Carolina might be more winnable than Florida, but both are pretty tough. And then you come back, and I think the Kentucky game at home, February 21st, is probably the most likely or the most winnable out of those 3. So, because Kentucky started to really slide, but yeah, it's a tough stretch.
What do you make of Kentucky's 3 straight home losses?
Yeah, they don't guard anybody.
Nope.
It is pretty damning to watch, because every year I get suckered into Kentucky teams with all this talent, and I can completely understand why Kentucky fans are losing their minds right now and wanting Calipari fired, because there's just so much talent on these teams, and for them to continue to underwhelm now, however many years this is in a row, 4 or 5 years in a row, it's getting pretty tiring for them. So yeah, it's another year of that.
Lady Tigers lost a couple in a row, and since then have come out and beat Florida by 40 and then beat Vanderbilt by 23. So you're talking about 63 points deciding those 2 games. Have they found a little bit of something, or is it just a spot where the schedule got a little lighter?
I think they matched up well with Florida and Vanderbilt. The Alabama game on Sunday, where they won by 20 as well,
Yep.
was interesting, because they were down 10 at half. But I just really think this is a team that can win games against 98% of the country if they just play hard. And that's been kind of the struggle, right? Against Auburn, against Mississippi State, where you go on the road and you might be a step slow and these teams are playing with their hair on fire, you're going to lose those games. But when they play hard, they can play with South Carolina. They can beat Virginia Tech. We know what this team's capable of when they're locked in and playing at 110 miles per hour, but when they don't have the depth that they need, and if things start to go wrong a little bit, then it drops them down and they can lose those games.
We appreciate some time. Have a good Monday.
Yeah, thanks, Hunt.
Matthew Brune, part of the Bengal Tiger team over there on 3. It's Shea Dixon, Billy Embody, and Matthew Brune is covering the team. Does an awesome job covering the basketball teams, covers football as well, and does awesome work. So y'all check him out for all your recruiting and team coverage needs over on the Bengal Tiger, part of the On 3 network. Matthew Brune just about every week jumps on and gives us a little bit of his insights on the LSU basketball team. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, Jay Johnson met with the media back on Friday, got some sound that we'll want you to hear. We'll get to that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electric. Neil, Melissa, Boudreaux have been running Boudreaux's Electric for 40 years. They are a certified Generac generator dealer, a premier Generac dealer. That means they're in the top 3% in the country in terms of their generator sales. Look, they've got a location in Gonzales opening up. The phone line's already ready to roll. Give them a call at 225-300-9389, 225-300-9389. Get that generator installed in your home today. Give yourself the peace of mind of never having to worry about the power going out, whether it's hurricane season, maybe it's just the summer showers that roll through and knock the power out. It's just a huge inconvenience. You can save yourself from that with the Generac generator from Boudreaux's Electric. Give them a call, 225-300-9389. That's my friends over at Boudreaux's Electric.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We're recapping Super Bowl 58, and it's game week for LSU baseball. We're counting you down. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products brings you our Monday shows each and every week. Appreciate our friends, GCOPnet.com. Got some SEC football that we're going to talk about here coming up in 15 minutes. But Jay Johnson did meet with the media back on Friday. We had some of the information from that media session on Friday when we gave you the show, but we did not have the actual sound, and so I didn't have all of the information. Now, we've got it, so we'll play a little bit for you. The first question Jay was asked on Friday was, hey, is everybody healthy?
Pretty healthy. I haven't really had anything, and it's obviously one of the goals of this weekend is to get through it without, or intact, I should say. Positive. Jaden Newt throwing bullpens, and looks like he's on track. So should see him at some point this year.
And that's very, very good news. The goal date for Jaden Newt is right around April 1st is when they were trying to get him into the mix. If he's throwing bullpen, sounds like very well on his way to that situation. And Newt was a massive, massive get in that signing class 2 years ago. And unfortunately, two of the biggest gets in that signing class were Jaden Newt and Chase Shores, and you just haven't gotten really anything out of those two guys. Shores helped you for about 6 or 7 weeks last year, but then he's going to miss the second half of last year and all of this year. Newt missed all of last year, and you're going to miss him for potentially half of this year. But moving in the right direction. He's a big, physical right-handed pitcher that's got a good fastball and was very much a draft risk. And unless you got him to campus, you'd like to get some innings out of him. So I'm excited to see where things head for Jaden Newt. That's good news that everyone feels pretty good on that. So Jaden Newt obviously will not be in the rotation from opening weekend, and it's a 4-day weekend, 2 games with VMI, 2 games with Central Arkansas. And Jay Johnson was asked, hey, do you have a weekend rotation ready?
It's not totally clear where that sits, and only because we have options. I've kind of done my initial work on the 2 teams we're going to play next weekend. We have it lined up where the guys that will probably start will pitch today or tomorrow, or the guys that will pitch Sunday, if we're able to play on Sunday, they would kind of move into that Sunday-Monday grouping. There's a lot of options. We can literally kind of do whatever we want in the context of what we think we need to do to win, and that's a good thing.
So as one of the last things I said before I came off the air on Friday was, they're scrimmaging, and Thatcher Hurd and Luke Holman are starting the scrimmage on Friday. And that, to me, suggests that those are going to be the first 2 guys to throw. So just guessing here, I would say Thatcher Hurd probably on Friday afternoon against VMI, and then on Saturday against Central Arkansas, you'll see Luke Holman. And I think probably Sunday against VMI, you would see Gage jump. That's my guess. And then they've got a game on Monday as well at 2 o'clock. So as he said, you can mix things up any way you want to do it early on. I never asked this question directly, but there is reason to think that LSU set Thatcher Hurd up to start that Texas game last year, and that's why he started in the midweek. I haven't asked that question directly, so I can't swear to that, but that's the situation. If you remember, Thatcher Hurd did not pitch in the weekend, the first weekend. That was Paul Skeens, and then they pitched Riley Cooper, and then they pitched Chase Shores. Those were the 3 guys that started on opening weekend last year. Ty Floyd didn't even start in the opening weekend, but they moved Thatcher Hurd. He started on Tuesdays for the first couple of weeks because I think they wanted him to pitch in Austin against Texas. He ended up pitching very, very well. So sometimes it's not necessarily who's the best pitcher, he goes first. Who's the second best pitcher, he goes second. Who's the third best pitcher? Sometimes there's a method to the madness, and there may be in this case. I'm not sure what they're deciding to do, but I would be surprised if you did not see Thatcher Hurd and Luke Holman as the first 2 starting pitchers on Friday and Saturday. That's just my guess at this point. Moving on in this sound from Jay, he talked about Michael Braswell's new shortstop.
He's been everything I hoped for and more in regard to that, and what I mean by it is he's a first-year player, uses his voice on the field really well, and is playing like an experienced player, which is great, and he makes everybody else around him better. He's been very solid defensively, and then offensively just deserves a lot of credit. He's put in a lot of work, and we've changed a lot, and he's adapted to it and is having a lot of success.
I think my expectation for Michael Braswell has elevated over the last 3 months. When they signed him out of the transfer portal, I was not over the moon about it. I was like, this is the guy you're bringing in to be the shortstop? He hit what last year? He's got how many home runs in 2 seasons? 3 total? This doesn't seem like a guy that fits at a championship level. He looks like a depth piece. And that's what it looked like on paper when they brought Michael Braswell in. However, he has done nothing but impress everyone since he showed up in Baton Rouge. It was a great fall. It was consistent all the way through, and he's come back here in January and been a really, really impactful player offensively. He's hitting some doubles. He's drawing walks, getting on base. Like, he's not going to be Tommy White. He's not going to drive in 85 runs for you, but I think he can man shortstop, which is job number 1. And I think he can be a positive contributor on offense. I don't know if he hits second. I don't know if he hits 8th. I'm not really sure where they put him. But I think Michael Braswell could be a real positive piece on offense. I think he's improved from the guy that you saw at South Carolina over the last couple of years. So when given the right context, and you're not expecting him to be Dylan Cruz or at shortstop Alex Bregman, you're just expecting him to be a positive contributor and a role player on the team. I think he can be that guy. I'm excited to see what Michael Braswell does, and I feel a lot better about him today than I did when they signed him back in June of last year. One guy that's moving in to be his middle infield partner is Josh Pearson, playing a little bit of second base, and Jay was asked about Josh Pearson.
I think it's experience. I think his awareness as a hitter is really good. He'll play a little second and a little outfield today, just as we're making sure we're ready to do whatever we need to do whenever we need to do it. But he's just steady. It's what I love about him, and has a solid understanding of the game. His dad's such a good baseball guy. Their family's such a good baseball family. And he had a lot of experience the year before. And so even though he was struggling, it's one of those, like, I knew he would probably end up where he ended up last year. And that's just a credit to him. He's got a good heartbeat for this thing.
He showed up the second half of that freshman year and was gangbusters for that team that lost at Southern Miss. And then last year he lost his starting job. They put him in there midway through SEC play, and he was fantastic for most of that season. I mean, the batting average wasn't through the roof, but the big hits that he got, hitting home runs in Omaha, he was fantastic. And so the thing I caught from that little bite about Josh Pearson is, one, he's going to play some second base, which was news to me, and two, still playing a little bit of outfield. And if you were listening back in the first hour when I was talking about some of the freshmen I thought could make an impact, one of those was Stephen Milam. And I think if they decide Stephen Milam can hit and needs to be in the lineup, then he likely plays second base, and that might move Josh Pearson out to the outfield. And I don't think the staff would bat an eye if they had to put him out in the outfield. They made that game-saving catch in Game 1 against Florida when Langford hammered that ball. I can still see it because I was sitting down that line in Omaha, and when Langford hit that, with the velocity came off the bat and the trajectory, I was like, that is big trouble. And Pearson made a really, really athletic play. He's a great athlete. He can run like a deer, and I'm not certain he can play second base in the SEC, but I guess that's something we're going to find out pretty quickly. If he cannot, I think Stephen Milam might be a guy that gets a few bats there at second base. And last bit of soundbite here from Jay Johnson was talking about Jake Brown and his maturation as a hitter. When they brought him in, they kind of thought, well, that's going to be a pitcher for us. Well, all of a sudden he's hitting now.
Yeah, I'm comfortable. I think he just does a good job. He's got great hand-eye, and he's got great bat speed because he's so explosive, such an explosive athlete. And when you have that combo, you make good early decisions because you're picking up the ball, and you can afford to make late decisions. That's what makes Tommy so special. That's what made Dylan so special. And I think he has some of that. Maybe not to the degree of the raw strength or power yet, but the explosive athlete to move his body, to move his bat, he can make late decisions, and that helps you with that breaking ball that's moving away from you. Can certainly react to a fastball, hit it to all parts of the field. So not a finished product by any means, and he's just got the mindset, the talent, and the work ethic to get to where he's going to need to go.
It's crazy to me that a guy that I was thinking of as a pitcher is now being mentioned in the same breath as Tommy White and Dylan Cruz. Now, again, he's not as developed as those guys are currently. He's still learning, but this is a guy that hit one off the hitting facility in right field for a home run last week, and is just been wowing folks. And I just did not see that coming. I just did not. And I'm so excited to watch him hit over the next couple of weeks, kind of see where he fits in, because obviously he's just such a really, really good athlete. And I think there's a good chance he's hitting pretty high up in the order and playing right field on Friday afternoon at the box, which is just, I did not see that coming at all. And again, we see things on opening day. I'll probably go back and make a list of these. I've got some on my head, but we see things on opening day that seem comical 4 months later every year. I mean, whether it's Chad Jones being the DH for the 2009 team on opening day and becoming a relief pitcher, that would have been comical 4 months prior. And all of a sudden, there you are. I mean, he lost his job as the DH and became a pitcher. We've seen, last year on opening day, like Cade Beloso and Gavin Dugas weren't in the lineup. Those guys were massive pieces to what LSU is trying to do. So you never know exactly how things are going to turn out. It's a long, winding journey, but it feels like Jake Brown's going to be a pretty big piece of that to LSU this year, and I can't wait to watch him hit starting on Friday. Opening day, 2 o'clock first pitch for LSU and VMI on Friday. We'll be out there noon to 2, broadcasting at Championship Plaza right there behind home plate. So if you're coming out to see opening day, playing a little hooky from work, come and see us. We're looking very much forward to being out there on Friday as the Tigers get this thing underway and try to defend a national championship on the diamond. So very much looking forward to that. We'll shift gears over to football here when we come back. On3 released its SEC football win totals for next season. I'll kind of give you some thoughts on a couple of those numbers, including what's going on in Gainesville. So don't go anywhere. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. It can be a full-scale renovation. They're a licensed contractor. They'll be the only phone call that you make if you're putting in a brand new bathroom. Maybe it's not that big a deal. You just want to do a tub-to-shower conversion. They do those all the time. And I tell you about safety all the time as well. They can put handrails around tough areas in the bathroom to keep people safe. They can put non-slip floors in the bathroom as well. They can do walk-in tubs for convenience. If you've got an aging loved one that may need some help in the bathroom, One Bath and Closets can make that happen for you. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. Get that free consultation. David Vaughn and his team will come over. They will start that process for you, and it is a great one. One Bath and Closets. Find them at onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
On Tuesday's OTB. Happy Mardi Gras, y'all. Hear from Coach Kim Mulkey after their beatdown of Alabama. Nick Underhill stops by to talk Saints and the new hires. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Tune in this weekend for coverage of NBA All-Star Weekend. Friday night at 8, it's the Rising Stars Challenge. Saturday night at 7, it's All-Star Saturday night. And the All-Star Game is Sunday night at 7 right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I was looking at the On3 official Twitter account, and they've got college football SEC win totals up via FanDuel, and a couple of them I found a little bit interesting. I guess we'll start with the hometown team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Beck, what do you think the over-under win total is for LSU next year?
I'll say 9. 9.5.
9.5 on the number. That is exactly the number. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I do think that LSU catches a little bit of a break here with the coaching change at UCLA. I realize that UCLA did promote from within, and they hired together a lot of the players like, so maybe not a mass exodus from Westwood, but
they'll lose players.
I think they will lose players. And so that one doesn't look quite as daunting as it may have. We'll see what USC is. I have no idea. I know Alex Grinch is unemployed, but he may be employed, but he's not employed at USC. And so that game is a little bit different. I don't know who. I honestly don't even know who's next for them because with Caleb Williams moving, I haven't gotten into that.
I'm guessing they have some kind of 4 or 5 star quarterback from California.
I'm sure they do. But then obviously the SEC slate is a tough one. You've got Alabama, you've got Ole Miss. Like it's a tough schedule. But 9.5 feels about right. Alabama's is at 9.5 as well. That's
probably a lot of people will be taking the under on that. I would assume.
I would think so. The same way I think a lot of people are going to be taking the over on Ole Miss, and it's 9.5.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you can trust Ole Miss to go win 10 regular season games, to go 10-2?
I don't. Even though they crushed it in the transfer portal, I still don't know that I can trust them to win 10 games.
I think they play Georgia again this coming year. So obviously they've got LSU. I don't think they play Alabama. They do play LSU obviously here in Baton Rouge. So I just feel like that's going to be the trendy team to pick as of July of this year when we were talking SEC Media Days. I think everybody's going to be all over Ole Miss.
They have Oklahoma at Oklahoma at home. They've got Georgia at home, and they've got Florida away and Kentucky home. Their schedule isn't bad. They get their non-conference or Wake Forest it'd be in Winston-Salem, so that could be it could be a little trap game there in Winston-Salem. But then they also Middle Tennessee and Furman are their other non-conference games. So not actually terrible schedule for them, besides Georgia, of course.
Yeah, Georgia's a tough break there. So that's your group at 9.5 is Alabama, LSU, Missouri, and Ole Miss. People still kind of riding the Missouri train. I would have to take the under there. I would just have to. There's no way I can pick Missouri to win 10 games again. The tier below that is Tennessee and Texas A&M. They've got those two at 8.5 wins. When we did the returning production back 2 weeks ago, I was surprised that Texas A&M has as much back as they do. Obviously, Connor Wigman comes back, and Evan Stewart looked to get into the transfer portal, but did not get in the transfer portal, so they've got him, and they've got a couple running backs coming back. But I was surprised to see that they have as much as they did, because it feels like they got gutted, but they didn't quite as bad as you might think. But 8.5, it feels like maybe 8-4 for those guys, if that makes a lot of sense. But the number, maybe the most surprising over-under on this entire list for me was Oklahoma. 7.5.
Wow.
That is so low. I realize that, you just said they're playing Ole Miss. They are coming to Baton Rouge the last week of the year. 7.5 seems low. I realize they had a tough year 2 years ago, but they were better this past year. I know Dylan Gabriel's out of eligibility, so he'll move on, and I don't know what's next at Oklahoma. I don't pretend to have all these rosters locked down at the moment because we're sitting here in February. But that just seems like a really low number for them. And there's a lot of people that are suggesting that Oklahoma may be in for a little bit of a rude awakening when you got to deal with Texas and LSU and Georgia and Alabama and Ole Miss, and you're not playing TCU and Baylor and Oklahoma State anymore. Maybe so, but they feel like they're a strong enough brand and they can recruit to a level where I just don't think they're just going to be absolutely clobbered. It's not going to be as good as it was, I don't think, but a lot of people are low on Oklahoma coming to the SEC. Texas is at 10.5 here, which is a huge number.
That's massive. Yeah,
that's the same as Georgia.
Yeah, and I don't. Looking at Oklahoma's schedule, they're out of conference games: Temple, Houston, Tulane. They have to go to Jordan-Hare. They play Tennessee at home. They've got the Cotton Bowl. They've got South Carolina at home. Then they've got Maine, another non-conference game, and then they've got Missouri. At Missouri could be interesting, and of course Bama, and then at LSU. So 7.5 though, man, it's hard for me to fathom Oklahoma winning 7
and 5. Yeah, that's the same number as Auburn, who's still transitioning into the freeze era. Kentucky's number very low here at 6.5. They've been better than that the last couple of years, but their numbers down there and then Florida is still at 5.5. Like. I heard Matt talking about this last week on his show, but he's talking about, will Billy Napier even be coaching Florida by the time that LSU plays them later on in the year? The game usually was early. It's going to be late next year. Do we think this is it for Billy Napier?
Yes,
Year
I do.
3?
I mean, look at what happened in the recruiting class. I mean, look at there's players leaving. Players
he got the quarterback. He got
the quarterback. Yeah, but it looks like the players are already just out on him.
Yeah, there's just no juice behind Florida right now, just none. And I don't know that it's going to be quite as difficult a schedule as it was last year, where you had to go to Utah and then you had Florida State, who was so good, even though Jordan Travis got hurt. But if they go under, if they're 5-7, yes, he's got to be fired. And that's great. Like, I wanted LSU to hire Billy Napier. I was on that train. I thought that would be a great hire. I never bought into you can't hire the coach from Lafayette. Like, sure you can. If that's the best guy, you can do it. I talked to people in Lafayette that had such great things to say, and they've just gotten no traction over there in Gainesville. Now, that roster was in bad shape. Dan Mullen's never been rumored with the greatest recruiters in the world. But I just thought in the transfer portal era at that school that guy would put a better product on the field than they had the last couple of years. So they're down at 5.5. And then another team that is on LSU's schedule next year is the South Carolina Gamecocks. They're down there at 5.5. And while Beamer was the toast of the town at the end of 2022 when they beat Tennessee and beat Clemson. It's like, oh, we've arrived. And then they weren't that good this year. And now you're looking at a win total that's 5.5. You go under that, I'm wondering if he's out. I guess the coaches most likely to be fired, I think, are Pittman, number 1. They've got a 5.5 win total. Napier, probably number 2 at 5.5. Is Beamer next?
He might be.
Clark Lee. They're building a new facility that's apparently really, really nice, but they don't ever win any games. I'm just curious, how quickly Vanderbilt's going to be, or should just rush out and make another hire. It's a terrible job. It's awful. But their win total is 2.5, which I think it was this past year too. Did they win 3 games last year? No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They did not win a game after LSU kicked off against Florida State. They won week 0, and then they won Saturday before LSU played on Sunday, and they didn't win a game after that. 2-10. So that would have hit the under on that. So those are your SEC football over-unders. LSU's at 9.5. If I had to play that, I would have probably played the under, unfortunately. 10-2 is a tough pull when I just don't know what this LSU defense is. But if they go over that, that'd be quite nice. Bama, would you bet on Bama 9.5? Would you bet the over?
I would take the under. It's just you don't know what's going to happen. It's a whole new era of Alabama football.
What if I gave you Kalen DeBoer years as the Alabama head coach, 4.5?
I take the under.
You think he's out of there after 3 years, 4 years?
4. I think he could easily be out in 4.
He definitely easily could.
Easily,
no doubt.
The expectations are going to be so high. I don't. There's no way. There's literally no way he can live up to the expectations.
Do you think he made the right decision to take that job?
Yes, you have to. How can you not take out?
You don't have to.
Okay, but you can't. If you're telling me you're going to stay in Washington,
they're in the Big Ten, baby, big bucks. They were in the playoff this year.
You can't stay in Washington when the job at Alabama is offered to you.
Could be career suicide, though. You go there.
It could be,
but you go there and go 10-2 and get fired. What's next?
Just go back to Washington. They'll take. I'm sure they would take him back.
Well, they're down an offensive coordinator. Alabama has. He's left for the Seahawks. A little turnover there on the Crimson Tide coaching staff quickly. With Grubb going to the Seahawks. All right, that's a look at some SC football over-unders. You can check those out on FanDuel or on 3. We got one more segment to go. We're going to come back. We're going to play a little Take It or Leave It, and that'll be it for a Lundy Gras edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
ESPN Bet is now live in Louisiana as the official sportsbook of ESPN. ESPN Bet is the only place to find daily exclusives and offers with your favorite ESPN personalities and shows. They got great odds boosts. Stephen A. Smith, Mike Greenberg, Scott Van Pelt, and the like. If you sign up today, new users get $100 in bonus bets for making any sportsbook bet. I got my $100. I bet it all in the Super Bowl. None of it hit, but you can do better than that if you take your chance on ESPN Bet. You can find all your favorite market and bets like in-game wagering, cross-sport parlays, teasers, and all the props that you can handle. That's ESPN Bet. Download today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with LeBears Lake Charles. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We're recapping Super Bowl 58, and it's game week for LSU baseball. We're counting you down. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This February, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of a $1,000 cash prize. To help out, signing up is as simple as heading to 1045ESPN.com. It's our annual holiday rebate gift to you from Citizens Bank and Trust and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'll be honest with you, Beck. I'm glad to get this show in the rearview mirror. That was a long weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mardi Gras, holding the kid up on your shoulders, catching beads.
It is an advantage though to have the kid, correct? Like you usually get better
stuff. We got some good shirts. We got some. He loves the footballs that they throw and stuff. So it was good. But it's long days out on the route,
long hours.
There's, some alcohol involved, some unhealthy food involved.
Naturally,
so you got to come back, watch the Super Bowl, and then most people are not working tomorrow, so we'll be here, but it'll be kind of a slower day. It's just this one. This was a tough one.
Well, we're going to get through
We're
it,
a little
though.
close.
We've already gone through today, so
we have. We'll make it work. And this is just going to be, I think, a long week because I'm so excited for Friday to watch the baseball team play. So it's going to drag a little bit, but we'll get through it. We got to play some Take It or Leave It first.
All right, first one here. Usher's halftime show. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I could take or leave Usher. He's good. He's got a lot of the anthems of my college bar days.
Yep.
We're bumping during the halftime show. He's a great entertainer. So yeah, it's good. I mean, I've seen worse. I've seen better. I thought it was just fine. My wife really enjoyed it. I was just ready for the football to come back on, quite frankly. So we'll take it.
All right, next one up. Taylor Swift chugging her beer on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Get crazy, Taylor. I mean,
I wonder if she might have maybe won a few fans over with that, perhaps.
Potentially. I think that's true. I mean, my wife was just going nuts. And then, I was not surprised at all that right when Mahomes throws the touchdown pass, the first cutaway was to Taylor Swift in the suite.
Yeah.
And look, I feel like there are more people saying they're not offended by Taylor Swift or they're not annoyed with Taylor Swift than there are the people that are annoyed with the Taylor Swift.
I don't know. Maybe.
Are there a lot of those people? All I see is people saying, I think it's fine. I'm one of those people. I think it's fine.
I do too, but I will say I was at a party and there was probably about 10 or 15 people there, and I think probably like 90% of them were like annoyed by it. And I don't.
Who cares?
I know it's like, dude, it's not really why it's not affecting you.
Yeah,
like,
not at all.
Who cares? Watch the game.
So, fun fact, I went to a George Strait concert in Shreveport when I was in high school. So this was probably like 04, 05.
Okay.
And went to George Strait, and the opening act, Taylor Swift.
Wow.
She had one song, Tim McGraw. That was it. She has more songs than that now.
She has a lot,
and a few
yeah.
more fans. And she doesn't play Shreveport anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I saw her a long time ago.
So you saw her before she got big, huh? That's crazy.
Exactly right.
Wow.
I'm
You're ahead of the time
in that way. I really am. So far ahead of my time. I was trying to convince my wife how close we were to sitting in the suite with Taylor Swift. I'm not making this up. This is actually true. Distantly, I am related to the Hunt family that owns the Chiefs. My grandmother is a Hunt, and like her dad is.
And your first name is Hunt. I mean, that's kind of interesting.
So the family started Hunt Oil, Tom Hunt. But I was like, we basically own the Chiefs, and we can just get in with Taylor's box. And
right.
She was not impressed. she was so mad that my grandmother's dad was not more involved with his cousins who started an oil company. So yeah, I basically won the Super Bowl last night. Hunt Trophy.
All right, switching gears. Zach Johnson said the Waste Management needs to tighten security and behavior. I saw a clip of him absolutely flipping his lid on some fans. Take it or leave it.
I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah.
Look, and I didn't see everything, and there is a line here because you can't hit a golf shot if someone like blows an air horn in your back. Like you're gonna flinch and screw up everything. So there's got to be a line we're going to. I'm good with this event being the one time per year that there's not 100 perfect decorum. We'll do this. We'll do things this way at Augusta, and everybody will be quiet, and nobody will run, and everybody will leave their chairs, and we'll be the patrons, and that'll be great. And we'll do it this way in Scottsdale once a year. That's fine. If they want to be really loud while somebody's hitting a shot on a par 3, like that's great. We can't be yelling and screaming at people and trying to screw them up because just the human nature is to flinch and do so, and you're gonna that is compromising the event. Like it doesn't apply to basketball or football, but in golf it does. So like I'm all for it being the raucous stop on tour, but if there's a certain line you have to go to that you can't do this. And like some of the videos of how drunk these people are trying to walk and
somebody
fall down.
fell out of the state grandstand. I think.
I've tied one on plenty of times. I've never couldn't stand up. Like you see some of these guys that are like wobbling.
Yeah.
How do you get that drunk? I don't even know.
I don't know, but I guess you just have to continue drinking until you literally can't stand. So it's possible. But
that's impressive stuff from the Waste Management. I don't even know who won the tournament this week.
Actually, it was Canadian Nick Taylor. He won in a playoff with Charlie Hoffman, who came out of nowhere.
He's a Waste Management
guy.
He
won the Waste Management like 5 years ago or something like that.
The greatest Thursday Masters player in the history of the tournament.
Where's the green glove?
Right.
He had a renaissance performance, but I couldn't get it done in the playoff.
My pick, Ricky Fowler, missed the cut. You said it was a good
listen,
pick.
I know. I'm wearing that one on the chin because he played really terrible.
Yes.
But you live and you learn.
Riviera this week, fired up about it. Got to make a big pick.
All right, last one here. Kentucky lost its third straight home game on Saturday That is not good for Mr. Casey Gaines sitting across from me.
No.
And this might not be even better. John Calipari being fired. Take it or leave it.
I'm not taking it off the table.
Yeah.
This team is talented. Like, Dillingham is a stud. Reeves is going to be an All-American. Reed Shepherd is great. And they can't guard anybody. They don't stop anyone ever. And I heard.
So take the over when they play LSU.
Yeah, I mean them in Alabama are. I've said this a few times on the air. Kentucky and Alabama's basketball teams this year are very much like LSU's football team this past year. Like, no matter what, you're getting in a shootout with them because they're not great on defense and they're incredible on offense. And that's the same way that this Kentucky team is playing. They can score with anybody. They just don't guard. And now they're losing a bunch of games. And this program that John Calipari turned into this superstar machine in the early 2010s is now just not an elite program.
And that loss to Gonzaga doesn't you in recent years you they lost to Gonzaga. That's not a big deal. Gonzaga's on the bubble right now to make the tournament. So they're not the Gonzaga of old of what you may expect if you haven't been following the season. So that's not a good loss.
It's not. And they're not an elite level team. And I just don't trust John Calipari to get this fixed. He was at his best when he could go cherry pick 3 of the top 7 players in the country that were one and dones to go to the NBA, and he did that incredibly well for about 5 years. And last year they had the reigning National Player of the Year in Oscar Tshiebwe and didn't make a huge push. They've got a monster signing class that's on this team right now, and they're not doing a ton with it. Like, it's not like they're going to miss the tournament, although they could. It's just they're not what they expect to be. There are some programs in the country that just don't allow a slip. LSU baseball is not going to allow itself to slip, or else you have to make a change. Kentucky basketball is like that. Alabama's football program is like that. Like, there's an expectation of where things are supposed to be, and in my opinion, they're not there. And I follow Matt Jones, who covers Kentucky as closely as anybody, and he put out a tweet on Saturday that called it a horrible loss and then said, look, there's road trip to Tennessee. There's a game against Auburn. You got to go to LSU. Alabama comes to Rupp. Like, missing the tournament is on the table for this Kentucky team that is incredible on the offensive side of the ball. Like, that stuff just not going to fly. And I've never trusted John Calipari as a coach. One of the things that I regret a little bit, when Will Wade always talks very highly about John Calipari, and I never asked Will what he thought of John Calipari as a coach, like off the record. I don't want to, because I don't think anything of him, but Will apparently does, and he knows a lot better than me. I just don't think that things are going in the right direction in Lexington. So we'll see. They're coming here next week. I've already asked for my hall pass for the week. I'll be going to that game next Wednesday night in the PMAC. So we'll see. We'll get to see them live and in person. All right. It's a Monday edition brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printer, copier needs, Gulf Coast Office Products can help you with that. Our guy Trey Beal runs the Baton Rouge branch here. They have got a ton of inventory ready to roll, over $1 million worth of printers, scanners, copiers. So in the event that you've got an issue with your copier, if you're a Gulf Coast Office Product client, and they'll come out the same day to try to fix it. If they can't fix the issue, they can just get you a new one so you can be up and running. Fantastic customer service over there at Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. Gulf Coast Office Products is the official office product supplier of the New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, ULL Raging Cajuns as well. Give our guy Trey Beal a call. GCOPnet.com is where you can find him online. If you missed the show today, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, you can find us. Search Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, rate, and review. Help get our content in front of as many eyes and ears as possible. We opened the show today talking about the Super Bowl. My takeaway from the big game last night, LSU and Bama in basketball on Saturday. My thoughts on that loss for LSU, where they gave up 109 points again at 115. Talks about the freshmen on the baseball team at 130, some of the guys that I think you may see sooner rather than later. My Super Bowl prop bets, just a spoiler on that, I lost them all. Did not hit a single prop bet with my $100 free on ESPN Bet. Matthew Brune was with us top of hour number 2 talking LSU basketball, both men and women. Had Jay Johnson sound at 2:15 talking baseball. And on 3, looking at SEC football win totals, got the Tigers right there at 9 and a hook online. Catch all that on demand wherever you find your audio. All right, I'm out of here. We're going to be working tomorrow. It is Mardi Gras, but we will have a show. But Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review on this Lundy Gras. Have a great and safe one. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations,